Hello everybody, Meta here, with the next Gen 2 ROM hack on my list. This time, heading straight into Pokemon Crystal version, where we will be finding a lot of the next couple hacks I review. For this first hack, I'm returning to a hack I played when it first came out back in 2017, and I really liked it back then. Now to my surprise, I found out that the hack has been receiving updates all this time, with the last one being in 2024, so I was more than excited to revisit this hack. The hack I'm talking about, of course, is Pokemon Crystal Clear by Shockslayer. Pokemon Crystal Clear is a hack that completely overhauls the original Pokemon Crystal, with the main appeal of creating an open world experience for the original Gen 2 games, along with several other extras that give players more content to enjoy and discover. The hack also offers several customizable options and settings, granting the player a great amount of freedom in how they play and experience the hack. Most of these options appear when you start your playthrough, so let's go over them first. Pokemon Crystal Clear offers a ton of customizable options for the player to choose from, and as I said before, a good amount of these options appear right as soon as you start the hack. The first option being a choice of 3 different game modes to play the hack in: Normal, New Game Plus, and Nuzlocke. As of this review, I've only played the Normal mode, but I do like there are a couple different built-in modes to satisfy those looking for a challenge and those who enjoy doing Nuzlocke runs. After you choose your game mode, then you are given the first most important choice of the playthrough, your starting region and town, with each town sporting a difficulty rating via stars. I already like the idea of the hack being open world experience, but the fact that you're given a choice to where you start your adventure truly makes the game open world. Of course, you can always just start your journey at Pallet Town or New Bark Town for a simpler and easier beginning, but you can make it tougher on yourself by starting somewhere less ideal like Cinnabar Island. The hack also features a character customization where it gives you the choice of a handful of different sprites to play as, some of them from the original games, and some of them are new designs created for the hack itself. You can also choose the colors for your character, as well as utilize an RGB hue changer to fine-tune the color to your liking. You are also given the option to change both the color and style of your bag as well as the Pokégear color. Offering up selections like these are always great, because it really helps personalize your experience, making you enjoy the game even more. Plus, the Slowpoke bag is just adorable, so I had to choose that one. Lastly, before we finally start our adventure, is choosing our starter. And I'm gonna be honest, it's quite the selection for sure. See, the starter selection features a couple of different categories. Yes, that's how big the selection is. These categories include both Kanto and Johto starters, extras, the baby Pokemon, and Pokemon that would be deemed as a hard Pokemon to start with, adding up to a grand total of 30 Pokemon to choose from. I don't know about you, but that's a lot to choose from. And while a part of me would say that's too much to choose from, the other half of me rejoices in the variety, which once again adds to the amount of freedom this hack lets you have. I mean, you can always keep it simple with a basic starter, or you can always just say, yeah, I did choose Shuckle as my starter, what about it? I mean, I just can't stress how great this game is at letting you carve your own experience to your liking. On a quick ending side note, the hack also provides a cool side option to change the music of certain locations and battles, featuring songs up to Generation 8, as well as some miscellaneous tunes in the Game Boy sound font. Extras like these are always neat little additions, and as much as I like the Generation 2 music itself, a change of tune is always nice to have. Now, let's move on to the actual meat of this hack, the open world. Crystal Clear's open world is actually brilliant, and I absolutely love it. First off, all roadblocks that would normally be in the game, cut trees, straight boulders, breakable rocks, and even Pokemon, have all been removed or moved to different locations, as well as the existence of new pathways that bypass certain dungeons or grant access to late game areas. Of course, this is just a basic necessity in order to make both regions free to explore as an open world, but it also means you can complete the main quest of collecting all 16 badges and defeating the League without having to teach any HMs to any Pokemon. My only gripe about the world being completely open is that the wild Pokemon found in late game locations will retain their levels they have in the base game, no matter what. But it does make sense why this is. Thankfully, to remedy this, most of the Pokemon that can be found in later locations can be found in the early areas at lower levels, so it is possible to find them without having to explore the more dangerous territories. While the wild Pokemon may stay the same level-wise, the gym leaders do not. In fact, their levels scale with the number of badges you have, meaning that you can fight them in any order, like an actual open world. Along with the level scaling, gym leaders will possess different teams that include stronger Pokemon, with better movesets becoming more and more difficult as time goes on. Another cool feature with the gym leaders is the ability to rematch them and their gym anytime by interacting with the statue near the entrance. You can also choose what level curve to fight them at, being a great way to level your Pokemon a lot faster rather than combating with the wild Pokemon. It can also help recently caught Pokemon catch up in levels by fighting the gyms they would excel at over and over again. I'm a really big fan how the scaling of the gyms work, with the later fights featuring very powerful Pokemon that can easily catch you off guard and make the early gym leaders who may seem like a joke become actual threats. It also kinda adds to the character of the gym leaders, with all of them having a last Pokemon interjection that featured in Pokemon Black and White, making the battles feel more intense. The world does also open up more and more optional events and locations, with each preceding badge rewarding the player for their achievements. Crystal Clear also does a really great job at making the region feel even more alive than it originally did with new areas and features. It also restores areas that were originally unavailable due to the limited space on the Game Boy cartridge. However, since most of these extra areas are optional, you will need HM moves to navigate through them, but they do feature legendary Pokemon along with plenty of goodies inside of them. Lastly, the hack provides a ton of ways to travel across both regions for the player to take advantage of, one of them being the magnet train that is now always available even without the pass. There is also the newly added fast ferry that can take you to several locations that are located beyond the seas, making surf not required to beat the game, further enhancing the idea of giving the player complete freedom on how they play the hack with any team they would like. It's really nice to have all these methods of travel, especially when your team doesn't feature a Pokemon with Fly. It also helps with avoiding areas filled with strong wild Pokemon in order to access all the gyms without any hassle. To make the open world experience even better, Crystal Clear adds in a ton of extra features, further enhancing the game itself. The first being that every single Pokemon not only features new sprites for the party menu, but also a new sprite for following you. All I gotta say is that all of these sprites are simply adorable, and I am such a massive fan of having them follow you, since it was my favorite feature in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It's also just nice to have them follow you because it makes it feel like you have a stronger bond with your Pokemon. Also, the Pokemon that follows you doesn't have to be the first in your party. You can choose any of them in your party by pressing select on them. Along with all these new Pokemon sprites, there is also an assortment of new sprites for new characters that have been added to the game. All of these new characters are all optional to interact with and play no part in the story of the game, so consider them little extra non-canon additions. They are, however, fun little extra battles that award you with plenty of good items and neat additions to the game having their own identity and personality to them. Some of these new characters also can aid you in finding Pokemon and chaining them. Speaking of chaining, Pokemon Crystal Clear features a chaining system for people looking to catch stronger Pokemon or just hunt shinies by using a newly added item called a Dex Tracker. Chaining is where you knock out a specific Pokemon multiple times in order to add more rerolls to each encounter. The rerolls will roll the DVs of the currently chained Pokemon for each encounter. The more you chain, the more rerolls, the better the odds to get what you desire. For a more in-depth explanation on chaining, I will provide a link to Shockslayer's videos explaining it in more detail. There is still a lot more extra features and content within the hack, but I'm going to leave that open for everyone to see on their own, and not spoil everything the hack has to offer. Pokemon Crystal Clear is a hack that brings so much to the table. From all the additions to improve the base game itself, to the amount of extra features to enhance all of it, this hack just feels endless. I know that during this review I mentioned the hack giving the player freedom multiple times, and that's not just for nothing. The hack really does provide all the resources in order to allow players to play the hack in a way they desire, which also offers endless playability. Crystal Clear is a hack that I would highly recommend if you haven't played it yet, and I was especially delighted to see how far it has come since it first came out. If Shockslayer does continue to work on this hack, I will be more than glad to replay it with each new update. And even if it does not get updated, I really enjoyed what I played and think it's still a perfect experience nonetheless. Meta, out.